We all love to think that we can outsmart Vegas, but let's be real here for a second. These odd makers nail it way more often than we would like to admit. So why is it that so many fantasy football managers are ignoring what Vegas is trying to tell us? Today's show is all about putting that to the test. We're breaking down the top 20 consensus fantasy quarterbacks and seeing how Vegas sees their seasons shaking out. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Hopefully everyone is doing well out there today. Like I said in the opening, we're going to be taking a look at the consensus top 20 overall quarterbacks as of right now. But we're then also going to show you their current Vegas lines. Most of them anyway. It's really easy to find lines for passing yards and touchdowns, but this fantasy game is so heavily influenced by those mobile quarterbacks, we need to take that into account as well. The problem is, Vegas doesn't have a lot of rushing totals for a lot of quarterbacks out there. So I went through the depths of the interwebs and tried to find the most realistic projections that I could find when it came to quarterback rushing for 2025, and then I added them to this equation. So what we will do is we will then take those lines and convert them to fantasy points. That's what it's all about over here. After I do that, I will re-rank them and see how Vegas sees the top 20 overall quarterbacks being for 2025. And let me tell you, Vegas does not agree with the consensus rankings, and there are a couple names barely inside the top 20 that Vegas thinks has top 12 potential, so you want to stay tuned. Now, speaking of not agreeing, let me tell you that I do not agree with you not getting a 2025 fantasy football draft guide. It's going to have rankings, sleepers, breakouts, busts, injury analysis, offensive line rankings, coaching changes, and so much more. There's actually already some info up there on the draft guide site right now, but what's great about it being web-based is we can add and update that information whenever we need to. Now, typically we like to have all of our redraft content up there right around the first week of July, so a lot of info is about to drop that you do not want to miss, because we want to make sure that you're ready to absolutely dominate on draft day. Just head over to tfhdraftguide.com and get yours right now. There are links down below in the description, because if you don't get one, your league mates will, and then you're going to get straight violated on a weekly basis this season. Now, I need to go ahead and give away some draft guides though, because I've been setting like goals on my videos and you guys have been straight killing them here as of late. So congratulations to Will Maddox and Medspiration. Your comments were randomly selected over my last two videos for a free 2025 fantasy football draft guide. All you got to do is send me an email from that account right there to info@thefantasyheadliners.com so I can get you hooked up, but I want to keep this train rolling. So if this video can get over 1,000 likes, I'm going to pick another random commenter from down below and give them a free draft guide as well. So you know what to do. Hit the like button, leave the comment at some point throughout this video, and let's go ahead and just do a little hip thrust into the current consensus top 20 quarterbacks. Now, when we do that, we see Josh Allen right here at the top. It's not a big surprise, but he's followed by Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts at number 4, and then Joe Burrow at number 5. After him, we got Patrick Mahomes at number 6, followed by Baker Mayfield, and then Bo Nix, the second-year quarterback out of Denver. Then we got Kyler Murray in Arizona, followed by Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert. How about Caleb Williams? Can he have an absolute monster year in that offense this season? He's currently at number 12. Then we follow him with the old reliable Jared Goff, followed by Justin Fields, now with the Jets. Then Dak Prescott, Drake May in New England, Jordan Love in Green Bay, CJ Stroud out of Houston, and then we round out the top 20 with both Trevor Lawrence and JJ McCarthy. Now let's go ahead and go through each one of these players line by line and see what their current Vegas lines and projections are for 2025. For Josh Allen, right now his current line when it comes to passing yards, 3,750, just under 4,000 yards passing. How about touchdowns? Passing touchdowns, 27. Rushing yards, we know he's going to be above 500. They got him at 580. And then where he makes a lot of his fantasy money, the rushing touchdown section, 11 rushing touchdowns projected this year. How about number 2? It's Lamar Jackson of Baltimore. His current passing yard line, 3,450, so just below 3,500 with 26 touchdowns, 890 yards rushing. We know Lamar is going to be running out there all season long, and then 4 rushing touchdowns. Now after that, we got Jaden Daniels. His current line for passing yards, 3,400 with 23 passing touchdowns, 810 yards rushing, and 7 rushing touchdowns. We're seeing a trend right here at the top, right? The first 4 guys, they're going to be running the football a lot. At number 4, it's Jalen Hurts. His current passing yard line is 3,200 with only 19 passing touchdowns, which doesn't sound that intriguing. But when you add in 680 yards rushing and 14 rushing touchdowns, people are expecting a whole lot of the tush push in 2025. But after him, we got a quarterback that isn't really known for being mobile. It was Joe Burrow. His current passing yard line is the highest yet. 4,200 yards with 33 passing touchdowns, only 200 yards rushing, and then 2 rushing touchdowns. A huge year projected for Joe Burrow. How about Patrick Mahomes? A lot of people really don't know what to expect from Mahomes. We know he's a great quarterback. We know he can put up huge numbers, but last year was a disappointment. But don't forget, a lot of his pass-catching weapons were hurt. His current Vegas line is over 4,050 yards with 27 touchdowns. And remember, he has a little bit of that rushing upside as well. 370 yards projected with 3 rushing touchdowns. Then we go down to Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. His current line, 3,800 passing yards. I believe that's a little bit low if you're asking me. Then 28 touchdowns, 320 yards rushing on the ground with 2 rushing touchdowns. Then we go down to Bo Nix in Denver. A lot of people loving themselves some Bo Nix, the current consensus quarterback 8. His current line for passing yards is set at 3,500 with 24 touchdowns through the air and then 420 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. After him, we move down to Kyler Murray. No one really likes Kyler Murray, but with the rushing upside, we cannot ignore Kyler Murray. His current Vegas line for passing yards is 3,400, not much less than Bo Nix. He's only got 20 touchdowns through the air, but adds in 600 yards rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns. That definitely helps. How about Brock Purdy next? The current consensus number 10. He's projected for 3,850 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 260 yards on the ground, along with 5 rushing touchdowns. That takes us down to the consensus quarterback 11, currently Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers. His current line for passing yards, 3,700, maybe a little bit low, but you know they're going to be running the ball a ton in LA this year. Then 22 passing touchdowns, followed by 260 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. We know that Herbert is capable of more on the ground, but with Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton, he probably really isn't going to be asked to do much this season. How about number 12? It's Caleb Williams. And when it comes to his projection for passing yards, it's currently at 3,550 with 22 passing touchdowns, 450 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown on the ground. After him, we move down to quarterback 13. It's Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. Current line is 3,850 yards through the air with 28 touchdowns, but we know he's not going to move. The dude is not known for being mobile. Only 70 yards rushing for the season, and we'll give him 1 rushing touchdown. Now, after him, we move down to Justin Fields of now the New York Jets, and we know he isn't some high-volume, prolific passer. His current Vegas line is only 2,550 yards passing with 14 passing touchdowns, but he's going to make his money on the ground. They got him projected for 820 yards rushing and 7 rushing touchdowns. That right there is going to give Fields a huge boost in 2025. After him, it's Dak Prescott of Dallas, another quarterback that a lot of people, they just don't like, and I really don't understand it, especially when it comes to fantasy football. Right now, his Vegas line for passing yards, 3,800. When you look at touchdowns, it's set at 26 with 200 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on the ground. We know that the Dallas running game is going to be horrendous this year. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot, and don't forget they just added George Pickens. Now, after Dak, the current consensus QB 16 is Drake May of New England. Now, we know it's another quarterback that's got some wheels, but can he put up enough in the passing game to give him a high fantasy finish? And we kind of see that in his Vegas lines, currently 3,300 yards passing and only 19 passing touchdowns. However, 570 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. After him, we got quarterback 17 in the consensus rankings, Jordan Love out of Green Bay. His current line for passing yards is 3,650 with 24 touchdowns, but not a lot on the ground. Only 160 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Remember, they added Matthew Golden in the NFL draft, and they are absolutely loaded with young wide receiver talent. Last year was a disappointment, but Jordan Love is going to have an opportunity to throw the ball a lot this season. Then we get CJ Stroud, the consensus quarterback 18 as of right now, with a current Vegas line of 3,750 yards passing, 21 touchdowns, 240 yards rushing, and then just one rushing touchdown. Remember, they added Nick Chubb. A backfield of Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb means CJ Stroud isn't going to have to move around very much. Hopefully they have a little bit more firepower in the passing offense this year. We did not see it last year. Now after him at the consensus 19, it's Trevor Lawrence of Jacksonville, another quarterback that so many people have just completely written off. As of right now, his Vegas projection for passing yards is 3,650 with 21 touchdowns through the air, but then we're adding in 280 yards rushing and 4 rushing touchdowns, which is definitely going to give him a little bit of a boost here when you're looking at projections in Vegas lines. And then lastly, the current quarterback 20 overall in the consensus rankings is J.J. McCarthy out of Minnesota. The first-time starter in Minnesota. Remember, he sat out his entire rookie year. His current projection, his current Vegas line for passing yards is 3,750, the same as CJ Stroud. However, he also has a line of 24 touchdowns, 230 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. That's really going to give him a boost in these fantasy rankings. So, okay, we've gone through the current Vegas lines and projections here for 2025. But remember, only thing we care about is fantasy points. So what we did was go ahead and take these stat lines and convert them to half PPR points and then re-ranked the list. Now, when we did that, we had quite a few changes. Now, obviously not at number 1. Josh Allen, the consensus overall quarterback 1, the Vegas overall quarterback 1. With 384 half PPR points, Josh Allen remained at the top in both. Everybody agrees there, I think. After that, we have a new number 2. Vegas has Jalen Hurts as the quarterback 2. He was the consensus quarterback 4, so he is 2 spots higher. After him, it's Lamar Jackson. He was the consensus QB 2, but the Vegas QB 3, 1 spot lower, not a big difference. Then we got Jaden Daniels. He was the consensus QB 3, the Vegas QB 4, another guy 1 spot lower. After him, we found some consistency. Joe Burrow, the quarterback 5 overall in the consensus and for Vegas. Patrick Mahomes, the QB 6 for both the consensus in Vegas as well. And then lastly, Baker Mayfield, the quarterback 7 in the consensus, the quarterback 7 in Vegas. But after that, no one agreed on anything the rest of the way. Kyler Murray was next. He was the consensus QB 9, the Vegas QB 8, so he was 1 spot higher. Brock Purdy, he was the consensus QB 10, the Vegas QB 9, so he was 1 spot higher. How about Bo Nix, the offseason darling? He was the consensus quarterback 8, but the Vegas quarterback 10, 2 spots lower. Then we got Dak Prescott, the consensus quarterback 15, but in Vegas's eyes, the quarterback 11. He is 4 spots higher when you take in Vegas's opinion. Then we get to Trevor Lawrence, the consensus quarterback 19. He almost didn't even make the top 20. However, when you look at Vegas projections, he's the quarterback 12. That is 7 spots higher than where the consensus currently has him. You have to think with the addition of De'Ami Brown and Travis Hunter, this offense, especially with new head coach Liam Cohen, they're going to be a little bit more high-powered, and a lot of people have just jumped off the Trevor Lawrence bandwagon, but Vegas is telling us maybe we should hop back on. How about Justin Fields? He was the consensus quarterback 14. In Vegas's eyes, the QB 13, so he was 1 spot higher. Caleb Williams, the consensus QB 12, the Vegas QB 14, 2 spots lower. J.J. McCarthy next, the consensus quarterback 20. However, when it comes to Vegas, he was the quarterback 15 and jumped 5 spots higher, which then takes us down to Justin Herbert, because right now, starting to feel a little bit fancy. He was the consensus quarterback 11. For Vegas, the quarterback 16. He dropped 5 spots for Vegas. Then we go down to Jared Goff, the consensus QB 13. Vegas, the QB 17, 4 spots lower. Drake May next. The consensus QB 16 was actually the Vegas QB 18, 2 spots lower. Then we got Jordan Love, the consensus quarterback 17, the Vegas quarterback 19, and then we round out the top 20 with CJ Stroud, the consensus QB 18, Vegas's QB 20, 2 spots lower as well. Now that in of itself is pretty eye-opening, but there was a quarterback right now that is currently ranked outside the top 20 in the consensus rankings that has a line high enough to where he would finish as the quarterback 12 in this exercise here today. Now I know most of the names you guys are probably thinking that it is, but no, it isn't Tua Tagovailoa. No, it's not even Matthew Stafford after the addition of Devontae Adams. It's not even off-season sleeper Bryce Young in Carolina. Do you have any guesses? I'm going to give you a few seconds to type your guess down below. So go ahead, type it out, give you a second. Some of you guys are out there just pecking at your keyboard. Come on, get it in. Go ahead and send it. Okay, the quarterback that has a line high enough to finish as the QB 12 here today is currently the consensus quarterback 24 overall, and that is quarterback Michael Penix of the Atlanta Falcons. His current line is 3,950 yards passing, 22 passing touchdowns through the air, and then 187 yards rushing and 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground. That's 285 fantasy points, would make him the quarterback 12 right here in between Dak Prescott and Trevor Lawrence. So is Michael Penix a sleeper that not enough people are talking about? There are currently only 2 quarterbacks with a higher line in Vegas for passing yards than Michael Penix. Do you know who it is? It's Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Now, I like Michael Penix quite a bit, but I didn't figure him to be a top 12 quarterback for the entire season. Top 15 to 18? Sure, but maybe we need to look at him a little bit closer this offseason. Now, personally, I just didn't think that Darnell Mooney and Drake London were enough to really boost up Michael Penix's fantasy football production. And I love Drake London this year. So the question really comes to this. Is Vegas really expecting Kyle Pitts to finally break out in 2025? Break out in a way that really elevates Michael Penix to the next level at the quarterback position. A year in which Kyle Pitts finally is one of the best tight ends in fantasy football, like he is supposed to have been the last couple of years. No way, right?